Whoa, it looks like I forgot to add myself onto the live stream, but I hope all of you guys are having a good one. Apologize, I'm a few minutes late. I had another call that I was just wrapping up. Welcome to the number one DeFi live stream in YouTube. So very good positive news that we have been seeing these last couple weeks. Very exciting overall all across the market. We saw Ethereum making new all-time highs. And I don't mean new all-time highs like entering a new price discovery, but at least seeing new highs that we have seen in a very, very long time, right? Ethereum did take a massive hit, but Ethereum looking very good, and Bitcoin also having a nice little recovery. We take a look on crypto bubbles all across the board. We see virtuals up over 200%. We see Pepe 69, Trump 77. Trump, by the way, is going to be having that dinner, I believe this week or next week. So I do know there's going to be a dinner coming up very soon for that. We'll talk a little bit about that. Unfortunately, I'm not invited to it, but I think that's one of the main reasons why we've been seeing a lot of the meme coins start to pump. As you see, there's a little correlation that you've been noticing. The memes and the AI tokens doing very, very well these last couple weeks. So looking at crypto bubbles on the weekly, we're seeing a little bit of red. On the daily, a little bit more neutral, and on the hourly, a little bit neutral as well. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few things that I wanted to talk about. One of them being the Tron founder, Justin Sun, says he's the top Trump meme coin holder. He is currently holding over $18 million worth of Trump token, and he's excited to go ahead and have that dinner. So it's kind of crazy how much money you need to be invested in order to go ahead and get this dinner. But yeah, we'll see what comes out of this. I mean, this guy, keep in mind, Justin Sun is in talks right now currently with the SEC in regards to fraud charges. So we'll see where things go. Maybe that's one of the main reasons why he's having this dinner. Maybe it'll work out a better deal for him, right? But one of the news I also wanted to go ahead and cover is we typically hear this saying is, sell in May, go away. It's a very typical thing we always see during summers. Is usually a very, very boring time in both markets, both crypto and both the stock market. But now analysts are saying maybe this time is different. Could Bitcoin now hit new all-time highs? And that's one of the biggest things right now that we're seeing all across the board. Keep in mind, we're less than a 3 to 4% move from Bitcoin hitting new all-time highs and re-entering that new price discovery. What do you guys think down below? Do you think that this time is different? That we're, instead of seeing a selling pressure coming in, we're going to be seeing buying pressure? As we talked about Ethereum gained over 90% in the last time, which was less than 2 weeks ago, and is now currently showing us a bullish indicator, which one of those bullish indicators is a bull flag pattern. Bull flag pattern followed with a cup and handle pattern. So things for Ethereum are looking very, very positive. Just to keep it very simple, we're going to go a little bit more into some technicals, into what I believe we could be expecting moving forward in the next coming weeks. But let's go ahead and take a quick look at the fear and greed chart, just so we can go ahead and have a better understanding of what we are seeing all across the market. So currently at the fear and greed, we do see 69 level of greed. Actually, this is the stock market. We do not need that. We need crypto. I had it bookmarked, but I lost it. Fear and greed, 68. Yesterday, we were at greed at 71, and last week at greed 71. It's kind of mind-blowing, in my opinion, how we've seen fear change from greed within less than 2 weeks. Keep in mind, less than 2 weeks ago, the market was in a very fearful state. And now we're in a pretty bullish state. Now, one thing I do want to go ahead and say is I still believe personally that right now with what we're seeing in the market, we still don't have that full-on confidence as we need for the market to continue to pump very, very aggressively, right? I think there's still a lot of doubt in the market. I think if we do continue to see some upward momentum, and the upward momentum happen very quickly, will be more than likely a short squeeze that will be causing this. But I feel overall across the board, retail is not getting too crazy as we would prior see. And I think it's because the crowd is kind of tired. I think the crowd is in disbelief and doesn't really believe that this rally is real. So even though we have been seeing a few tokens all across the board pump very well, over 30 to 80% pumps, it looks like people are still a little bit fearful and unsure of what to go ahead and do, right? In my opinion, I think there's a lot of very positive things to talk about, which we'll go ahead and go into it right now into some charts. But one thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about, they're currently working on the Genius Act, which is a crypto regulation bill that it's going to be regulating stable coins. We'll see where things are going, but I'm not sure if all of you noticed, there has been a trend with stable coins as of lately. Trump came out with his own stable coin called USD1, and a lot of these other tokens and companies are now also copying USDC because they realize how much money they could actually generate, right? So I think we're going to be seeing a massive influx of USD coins as we already have. So now it looks like they're trying to push some sort of regulation. Keep in mind, PayPal has his own USD coin. It's called PUSD. So what were the odds? Exactly what we were just talking about. So it looks like that's what they're focusing on right now. Nothing in regards to, taxes. That was one of the biggest things. And also the DeFi Act that they were working on a few months ago. They were looking to go ahead and charge us on taxes for every kind of transaction we did on Uniswap or Sushi Swap, and then come after us, and they basically shut that down. So some very positive things all across the board. I guess this could be positive. I mean, I'm not looking to create no kind of stable coin, but this does definitely show that we are in a situation, or should I say in a place where we are now having awareness through these cryptocurrencies. And I think one of the biggest one that's been catching a lot of attention is due to Trump's connection with all of the crypto space, right? He's been really, really involved. His own stable coin, his own meme coin, World Liberty Finance. So he's been pretty at it. Now his family's also partnered up with Crypto.com to go ahead and push the Made in America ETFs. Also as well, has been in talks with Binance, maybe a potential Binance US purchase. Who knows? So there's been a lot of things, as well as his family now owning a few or coming up with their own Bitcoin mining company that they're looking to go public very soon as well. So they've been really, really involved, and due to this, it has been catching up and also has been putting a lot of awareness into space. Hopefully it's for the good, but that is what's going on right now with that. One of the biggest things I wanted to go ahead and talk about we're going to go ahead and start off with the NASDAQ before we start talking about the juicy stuff, which is Ethereum, in my opinion. But looking at the NASDAQ, we talked about this a few weeks ago, how this inverse head and shoulders pattern was forming. We saw this massive breakout above the neckline, and now it looks like we are forming some sort of support. So as long as the stock market does continue to hold here pretty well, hopefully we don't see that big of a retracement. But the stock market is close to its all-time highs. I mean, its all-time highs right here for the NASDAQ was around 22. And we're actually about less than a 5% move from hitting and making new all-time highs in the stock market. So the stock market has had a really, really nice recovery to the upside. A lot of the stocks that I bought and call options are, my overall portfolio on the stocks is just over 40%, which I think it's pretty insane for a month being exposed to the stock market, right? So the stock market, if you guys bought the dip on that as well, has been performing really, really well, which for all of you that, have been following the channel know that the stock market has a huge correlation to the cryptocurrency market. So let's go ahead and take a look at gold right now, currently looking at the moment. We do see that gold possibly, I talked about this last week, that gold could possibly be forming a double top, which is usually a bearish pattern. So hopefully we do see a rejection with gold. I'm hoping we can see some sort of move like this, or even if gold does go a little bit higher, I would definitely not want to see gold go any higher than 3,400, so 34, 35, and hopefully get some sort of rejection. That would definitely show that investors are now taking on a little bit more risk. So I hope we do see some sort of rejection for gold coming in very soon. And if we do, this would be very, very nice for the cryptocurrency market and as well the stock market. So gold looking pretty good right now so far. Let's go ahead and take a look at the larger time frames, which is the weekly, looking pretty good as well. And let's see what the 4 hourly looks like. For hourly, we'll see. It looks like we could possibly be entering a downtrend on gold, which is exactly what we need for crypto, specifically Bitcoin, to continue to go up. So hopefully, if it's not here, that it starts to get rejected, even possibly up to these high $3,400 ranges, and then start to see some sort of breakdown to the downside. But hopefully, we can see a breakdown sooner than later. Let's go ahead and take a look at Bitcoin, because as all of you know, Bitcoin is the leading asset when it comes to the crypto space. So let's take a look at what Bitcoin has been doing. So taking a look at Bitcoin, looking very, very nicely. It's really good to see this. This is almost like textbook technical analysis that we're seeing right here. And you guys have been witnessing, if you guys have been following the channel for these last couple of weeks. We were talking about this possible inverse head and shoulders pattern, and we did see that breakout, very quick squeeze, with Bitcoin holding really nice support between $93,000 to $94,000. And I wasn't expecting this move above $100,000 that quick, to be completely honest with you. So keep in mind, Bitcoin is also very close to making new all-time highs and entering that, what you want to call a new price discovery, right? Right here on my chart, I believe is showing, actually, no, that is a lie. So Bitcoin would be hitting, let me see, let me move this, because I think it did wick. Okay, it wicked all the way over here. So 108 to 109, depending on the exchange that you're looking at this from. But realistically, Bitcoin is about a 2 to 3%, let's just call it a 4% move from entering a new price discovery as well. So not only is Bitcoin going to be entering a new, possibly a new price discovery very soon, but so is the stock market. The stock market is about 5% away. Bitcoin is about between 3 to 4%. As I mentioned, these last couple weeks, Bitcoin has actually been leading the stock market, something that we haven't seen in a long time, right? Usually Bitcoin follows the stock market leads, Bitcoin is right behind. And this time we've actually been seeing Bitcoin leading the stock market as well, right? So I think we could be seeing some sort of breakout for Bitcoin very soon. I'm honestly thinking, with the way Bitcoin is holding itself right here, I think we could probably be seeing some sort of breakout in the next, I would say probably in the next week. Like if it's not by the end of this week, maybe by next week we could be seeing it. But I really do believe that maybe this week we could be seeing that breakout. And we could be seeing Bitcoin enter a possibility of a new price discovery, right? We're not that far away, guys. We're about a 3% move from entering this new price discovery. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, Bitcoin on its own is looking very, very positive, has been holding this range right here around $100,000, which is exactly what we want Bitcoin to go ahead and do. And realistically speaking, Bitcoin has already been holding this range for about 12 days. It's actually 11 days, but it'll be going into 12 days, depending on the time that you're watching this live stream. But yeah, Bitcoin has been holding up very, very well. Which is definitely something exciting. Like I mentioned, I personally feel like the market is not as excited as it used to be. I feel like we got more excitement in Bitcoin like back in November. And I guess it was because the catalyst was, Trump winning and then pushing the market. I feel like we got more bullishness here than we have here. Like I feel like we don't have that same excitement in the market. I feel like a lot of people are still in fear. There's a lot of disbelief all across the board, even though a lot of, not a lot of good signs, a lot of good positive signs regarding the market. Now, I've also been hearing that there's a possibility that people are saying that there's a 90% chance that the Fed's going to cut rates in September. So I guess it's also sort of good news. Keep in mind the next rate cut, if we do get one, would be between either July or September. So June, they said no rate cut, and July, it's looking like we might not get a rate cut either. So I've talked about this last week with Tristan on Let's Talk Crypto, and also on Thursday of last week, that I'm going more for a possible rate cut between October and September. Like I said, there's already talks about a 90% rate cut in September, which is definitely very good news. But as I mentioned, Bitcoin is looking very positive all across the board. I do believe we could be seeing a breakout very soon. Of course, if Bitcoin does start to get rejected, and let's say we don't see this kind of breakout to the upside, I think Bitcoin realistically could go as low as $86,000 and still be positive. And then we could just go ahead and bounce like this. So just keep that in mind, that if we do start to see Bitcoin decline, we could be seeing Bitcoin. Sorry, I kind of like forgot what I was saying. What I meant to say is that if we do see Bitcoin start to get rejected right here, we could even fall as low as $86,000 and then see an aggressive uptrend in Bitcoin. So either way, even if Bitcoin was to go ahead and top here, we are still in a good situation. Now, I do not think that's going to happen. And like I said, the reason why, we're getting a lot of good signs. As long as the stock market continues to rip, gold continues to go down even lower, which I think within the next 2 to 3 days is going to go ahead and confirm that gold could be now possibly entering a downtrend, which would be our confirmation. So I think realistically speaking, we could probably see a breakout with Bitcoin by the end of the week. Worst case scenario, weekend. Usually weekends don't do too well, but this weekend actually did pretty well. So just keep that in mind. But really what I'm excited about is Ethereum. Ethereum is something that I've been very, very excited about. I'm finally happy and excited to see Ethereum start to run up. This is exactly what we've all been waiting for. We've talked about this Ethereum forming this inverse head and shoulders pattern, and we had this nice little breakout at $2,200. And now it looks like we're forming, as we talked about this earlier, a possible bull flag pattern, right? Where is it going to break? If we do see that kind of pattern, once again, guys, this is a very positive bullish pattern. So it looks like we could be having some sort of breakout with Ethereum relatively very, very soon. If we do see this breakout towards around this, let's just call it $3,000. Realistically speaking, it's between 2,800. But ideally, I would like to see Ethereum at least at around $30,000, which would take us at around this zone right here. I think, in my opinion, this would go ahead and show as a sign that this is a confirmation that the downturn is over. Of course, I would say that this is a clear sign that the downturn is over, but also keep in mind that there's always fake outs that could also possibly happen, right? Where we do see a breakout after a massive downtrend, and then we see it followed with a bull trap pattern, which is also always very possible, right? So as excited as I am, and as I mentioned, I'm more bullish with what we're seeing in the market than ever before. Of course, we need to see this breakout with Ethereum, but I'm leaning more towards a positive than a negative. But keep in mind that we still have a possibility that we could go ahead and retrace for Ethereum, and we could be seeing some sort of move where we go down and then same thing, come back up, right? So hopefully we do not see a move, and hopefully this is a bull flag pattern and we do see this breakout sooner or later. One of the main reasons being is because this should be leading altcoin season. As you guys saw earlier with crypto bubbles, when I went ahead and pulled it, we saw that all across the board, a lot of these altcoins on the monthly have done some very insane returns all across the board. Most tokens have been performing really, really well. And this is showing us signs that we could be entering that altcoin season that everyone has been waiting for. Now, one of the biggest things I do want to go ahead and give out a warning about is that we need to have Ethereum continue with this positive movement to the upside, because realistically speaking, guys, Ethereum does not have much room to play around. Ethereum really has to pick it up. I mean, this is a really good sign that we're seeing with Ethereum. And I think this is the most positive the market has been with Ethereum. But Ethereum really has to go ahead and make it. Like, we really need to see Ethereum break past this $3,000 mark, ideally $3,200 for me personally. And that would confirm that, the downtrend is over. We're in a bullish uptrend, and we could be potentially seeing that altcoin season. Now, keep in mind, in the past, altcoin season usually lasts almost about 365 days, almost about a year. And I believe, maybe I'm wrong, but I think we could probably be seeing a top in the market maybe around November. I think this bull run is almost done, unless, a lot of people say maybe this time is different. But I realistically think the bull run is almost coming to an end. I think we have a few months left. I would say between 6 to 8 months, unless maybe the market gets extended, which I really doubt it. But that's what everyone is saying and hoping for, right? So I realistically, personally believe that we only have 6 to 8 months left in this market. So we really need Ethereum to continue to pick this up and continue with this momentum. If the market does end within the next 6 to 8 months, that would go ahead and keep Ethereum on track to hitting that altcoin season. But I think we're almost due. We're almost due with this whole entire market. So we really do need to see both markets continue with this positive momentum. And like I said, this summer is actually looking way better than we've ever seen before in both markets, both the stock market and the crypto market. And if we do begin to get those rate cuts in September, that could definitely be a good sign. Of course, if we could get those news sooner than later, which would be July or June, that would be amazing. But like I said, I think we are still on track for this massive bull run. And as I mentioned, I think we're almost due. We're almost done with this whole entire market cycle. So we'll see where things are going. But if I also go ahead and show you Wall Street cheat sheet chart, I would recommend all of you guys to go ahead and download this if you guys don't have it. But this is the Wall Street cheat sheet chart. I'm going to go ahead and copy this and put this, let's just say, I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And I'm just going to go ahead and show you where I possibly think we're in. I think we were probably in between here. I think we're like probably like either right here or going into optimism. I don't think we're fully there yet. I think we're actually, like, realistically speaking, if you actually go ahead and take a look right here, this is where the disbelief is at. And I think this is where we're actually like near. If we do have the disbelief, we could see one last correction, and that's where everyone gets discouraged. But I think we're right here. I think we're somewhere in here. I think we're near this optimism. And then once this optimism hits, as you know, euphoria starts to kick in. And that's usually where the top of the market is, right? So for me personally, I think the market is somewhere around that zone. And if that is the case, that means that we're almost due for some sort of end of market, right? So just keep your eyes glued to the market, see where things are going. But yeah, I don't think there's much left in this market. With that being said, I would recommend all of you guys definitely take advantage of the dips that we're seeing all across the board. I'll go ahead and share a few tokens with you that I would recommend keeping an eye out on. Specifically, I would start off with the AI narrative. I think AI is going to get even hotter these next couple months. We've already been seeing it all across the board, but a few tokens to go ahead and consider would be Tau, Near, Virtuals, Render's a pretty big one, ICP. What else? Akash. I know Tyler's pretty big on this one. I like A1. What is it? AI16Z, which is basically like a meme coin agent. So just keep in mind these are very, very volatile, but something like this. And also, I would go ahead and say Destra. You definitely want to have some Destra added. Destra is still down 73% from its all-time high, so still at a discount. Destra Network, ticker symbol DSYNC. Keep your eyes out for this one as well. PAL, I know, is a really big one as well. And also Arkham, which is a platform that you could go ahead and use to track wallets. I think this one's definitely something to check out. This one's down over 82% from its all-time high in March, so also at a really good discount. I know there's a lot of hype on this one, Griffin. This one is still down over 83% from its all-time high. Something also to go ahead and check out. Seems to be some sort of AI agent. Yep, so it's some sort of AI agent. So go ahead and take a look at that one. So basically a lot of the AI agents, I think a lot of the tokens that have like the worst, almost seem like ChatGPT or something like that. But I think a lot of these tokens that have some very strong AI narratives is something to go ahead and consider. AI agents being one of them because they're in between borderline meme coins and actual utility tokens. Of course, real world assets is one of the biggest ones. We have been seeing a little bit of a recovery on real world assets, but for me personally, I'm not too crazy on them. I think we're probably not going to go ahead and see massive changes on these tokens just yet, which could definitely mean that it's a buying opportunity. I think right now the main focus in the next coming months, like maybe the next 2 months, could be solely AI tokens and meme coins. I think that's really where a lot of the focus is going to be coming. I think right now a lot of the focus is not going to be too much into the real world asset narrative. That is just due to the fact that we saw Mantra take a very, very big aggressive hit, going down as over 95%, right? So I think this kind of shook out a lot of people into the market, and it also went ahead and kind of gave people like that lost hope, honestly. So I think due to this, we're probably going to be seeing more focus into AI tokens for the moment. But I'm sure a lot of people will come back and revisit the real world assets. So this could actually be a buying opportunity for all of you that are considering to get into some real world assets. And of course, I think gaming is something you definitely want to go ahead and check out and be exposed to. Also, gaming, not too attractive right now at the moment. There's a lot of big things being built on the gaming sector. One of the biggest games last bull cycle that was pretty big was actually Illuvium, which is now down 99%, went as high as $2,000 a token. I don't know what's going on with this token. I haven't actually even kept track with it. But yeah, Illuvium was a really big game last bull cycle. So something to go ahead and consider is the the gaming sector. I think there's going to be a lot of momentum coming up with the gaming sector too as well. But I also don't think it's a time just yet for the gaming. So it might be a time to also consider looking into some positions when it comes to the gaming sector. But as I mentioned, I think between AI agents, AI, meme coins, and then the Solana ecosystem is something you definitely want to go ahead and be exposed to. And in my opinion, I would highly recommend checking these sectors out because I do think that these sectors are going to be the next movers. As we have been seeing all across the board, we've actually been already seeing both sectors do very, very well. There's actually both sectors have actually been outperforming the whole market, as you see all across the board on crypto bubbles. But yeah, market is looking really, really good. We'll see how it goes by the end of this week. As I said, I'm more positive than negative. I don't think we could be seeing a correction. I know a lot of people are expecting a correction. I do not think we're going to see one. Of course, it's always possible. But Bitcoin has already been holding the zone for about almost 12 days. So as long as we continue to see this kind of momentum and we do not see Bitcoin go any lower than $101,000, we could definitely be seeing this breakout to the upside relatively sooner than all of you expect. So it's going to be a very fun coming months. I'm very excited for the market. I think these next coming months are going to be exciting all across the board, right? So just remember to go ahead and smash that like button, turn on post notifications, subscribe to the channel if you are brand new. We will be going live on Thursday. I will be ending this call. I do have another meeting to go to with our private community. So if you guys are in our private community, I'll go ahead and see you guys very soon during office hours, which should be starting in a few minutes. But with that being said, guys, appreciate all of you being here. I think this time the market is definitely looking a lot more positive. Like I said, of course, things could change. But as of so far right now, I'm more positive than ever that I've ever been, right? Still holding on to the cash. I'm mostly about, I would say, 80% deployed into the market with only 10 or 20% of cash on hand, which that means USDC, just ready to go ahead and buy the dips. If the market does correct, I'm going to be more than glad to buy these dips. So regardless of the fact whether this market dips or pumps, I'm okay with either or. If the market dumps, I'm ready to buy some more. If the market pumps, then I'm ready to almost take profits, right? So With that being said, guys, appreciate all of you guys being here. We will be going live on Thursday with Tristan. So hopefully we can get lots of exciting news coming up this week leading into Thursday. But for all of you that are in the private community, go ahead. I'll go ahead and catch you guys there. And for all of you that are not, and you might be considering joining our community, go ahead and check the link down below in the description. And I'll see you guys later, or I'll see you guys Thursday. Take care. Bye.